Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast. My name is David Baker, your host, and glad to be here and glad that you're here. We're talking about marriage problems, as you see the title. Do people have marriage problems? Well, we've never had any, but I realize that some people do. Okay. No, every marriage that's been married any time at all has had marriage problems. And so this is, I believe, lesson number 9. So I'm going to jump right into it. This will probably be fairly short, but just to keep it one topic per lesson. Different life goals. Divergent goals and aspirations can create tension and disconnect. Okay, divergent goals and aspirations can create tension and disconnect. If the goals don't connect, if the goals don't have the same purpose, we can do different things for the same goal and they're connecting. If they're divergent, then this goal is going this way and this goal is going this way, and you are really going to have problems. Okay. So this goes back to pre-marriage and talking about what are our goals, what are our plans, what are our aspirations, what do we want to do, what do we want to accomplish, agreeing on them before you get married and then keeping those, okay? That's ideal. So it ought to be, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What do you want to accomplish? All those kinds of things should be so talked about and discussed and deeply embedded in that. My wife and I have never had a problem with those, even though we're very different in a lot of ways. But the goal has always been from the time that we met to serve God. That was it. It's seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And so that main goal that we had when we met 35 years ago, and we've been married now 34 years, that goal is the same. It hasn't changed at all. Now we've added to it because now it's not just us serving God, but serving God with our children. It's not just us serving God, but serving God with our grandchildren and helping them to accomplish those things. There is nothing bigger in life in eternity than meeting Jesus and hearing, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." So that's the goal. That's what we want. I want myself and my wife, I want my children and my grandchildren and the people I pastor and the people I know to hear from Jesus one day, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." That's the goal. That's the aspiration. And we're together on that. That's what we want. Now, can we disagree sometimes on how we might get there? Sure, absolutely. But as long as your goal is the same, you're not divergent. You're not going opposite of each other, you're going to be able to make it. So talk about that before, and then through life and marriage, make sure that stays the same. Now, if you got together and you didn't have the right goal, you want to get to that. All right. The goal is to serve the Lord, to honor him, to please him, to win souls, to help people, to change their lives so they can win souls and help people also. That's what we're here for. That's why God left us here. And by the way, we just talk about more about marriage and ministry and things a lot here, but that is the most fun, the most blessed life you could ever have. I'm the thrill seeker. I'm the crazy. When I was 16, I got caught drag racing. The guy behind me was going 120. I don't know how fast I was going. I was too scared to look. And yes, we got pulled over. It was not a good story. The guy was racing, also went to the same church. We're on our way to youth group. And the police that pulled us over was that guy's next door neighbor. So he didn't arrest us and didn't give us a ticket, but he did call my dad. And that's the rest of the story we don't have to go into. So I'm the crazy guy. I'm the guy that wants to jump out of airplanes. I'm the guy that loves all that kind of stuff. My wife, not so much. Okay. So when we have a kid family activity, hey, let's go whitewater rafting down the Ocoee with class 4 and class 5 rapids. And she's like, no, thank you. I'll stay home and paint. You'll stay home and paint? Yeah, I love to paint. Okay. So, and that's okay because our goals and our aspirations are still the same. All right. Hobbies, skills. My wife will ask sometimes, are you sure we're a good fit for each other? Because the things that we enjoy doing are not the same. I love water. I grew up on a swim team and raced one state my junior and senior year, never got beat in my event. in my events, and aspiration for Olympics one day. I swam 7 miles before without stopping for a swimathon. I've a lifeguard, water safety instructor. I can certify lifeguards, and scuba diving. And boy, I love scuba diving. Jumping out of an airplane and scuba diving on this earth, boy, they're about the best things you can do. For me, my wife, no, she has no desire to do any of those. My kids, yeah, all the boys want to go scuba diving, and the girls even want to go jump out of an airplane. We haven't talked mom into letting them do that yet. But those things are different. She likes sewing, and she likes painting, and she likes crafts, and she likes playing and doing music. But that's okay, because the aspiration, the goal, purpose for life are the same. Okay. There are many things we cross, the same in, as far as witnessing and winning people and helping people and teaching people and counseling people and music and piano and writing and singing and playing and all those things. Those are good. But some are different. Okay. But make sure your main goal is to serve God. Train your children to serve God. Train your grandchildren to serve God. Now, what about if the spouse can't stand the other person's goals and aspirations? Okay. What if the spouse can't stand the other person's goals and aspirations? So, one thing is simply get counsel. Go to your pastor, get with a good counselor to be able to help you walk through that. Because yes, it can create tension and disconnect if the goals are divergent. Okay. They're not going to connect. They're going to cross and keep going the other way. So get counsel. And then practically, consider giving up that for the other person. Okay, if there's something I did my wife just could not stand, would I be willing to give it up for her? Yes. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That's my wife. If it's something just so bothered her, then yeah, I would consider giving that up. Okay. I didn't ride motorcycles a lot. My neighbor kid friend had a dirt bike, and we'd ride it some. And then a friend in high school had a street bike, and I rode it some. And a guy in church had a Harley, and I rode it some, but very little. But I enjoy it and I like it. And yeah, I'd love to have a motorcycle. My wife, she would probably rather me not have a motorcycle. Okay. Well, it's easy now. I don't have money for a motorcycle. So, we don't have that conflict. But one day I may have the one to get a motorcycle, and all the boys would like motorcycles. So we may have that conflict. Would I be willing to give that up? Don't hold this against. Don't share this with her, because she doesn't usually listen to these. But yet, would I consider for her? Of course. Of course. If it so stresses her out that she feels like I'm going to die and she's going to lose her husband and sons, then yeah. The other thing is, the opposite side is the one who can't stand the goals, consider letting it go and don't let it bother you. Things don't have to bother us. We can decide to not let it bother us if we want to. Okay, we can turn it off. Things that used to bother us, we can make them where they don't bother us. I'm not going to think about it. Not going to dwell on it. I'm going to give it to God. God, you take care of it. God, you protect my dumb husband and my dumb boys that want to ride motorcycles. God, I just give them to you. I just trust you're going to take care of them. I can't focus on it. I'm going to focus on only what I can do. Okay, so either way, that can fix that. And just like with my kids, when they would have conflicts, I would say, listen, if either one of you decided to be a good Christian, you would not have this conflict, because you could have given in this way and you could have given in this way, and you guys wouldn't be here right now. If either one of you, doesn't take two, if either one of you just decided to be a good Christian, you would not have this conflict. Amen. Okay, so different life goals, that's the way I would have those. Again, it starts out in the beginning when you're getting together. So make sure, I know we have people that listen to these marriage ones that are younger, and of course, this is good and fine for everyone. You want to make sure your goals and aspirations are the same. If not, people can be so discontent with that they want out of the marriage. Well, I've always dreamed and I've always wanted and always wanted to become. Those things can be a mess. You don't want to get into a marriage like that. You want to make sure your goal in the beginning of marriage, we have the same purpose, we have the same direction, and don't get backslidden. I wonder how many divorces people met in Bible college, started dating, wanted to serve God. One or the other one got backslidden and didn't want to serve God anymore and ended up divorcing because they changed those goals and aspirations. You don't want that. So protect that. Wife, encourage your husband in those goals. Husband, encourage your wife in those goals to keep doing those. I encourage my wife to serve the Lord, to win souls, to do ministry, to teach, to help people. And she encourages me to do the same thing. Because if either of us get backslidden, guess what? Our goals and aspirations we had 34, 35 years ago, we're not still going to have them. Okay? All right. Simple one. God bless. Next time, we're going to talk about parenting differences. Okay? Different parenting styles and things like that. So next time we'll talk about that. All right, God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Wisdom for Life podcast. If you have any questions for us, email us at askPastorDavidbaker@gmail.com, and we will answer them in an upcoming podcast. The email is askPastorDavidbaker@gmail.com.